Traveling to Consciousness, exploring spiritual journeys to find answers in uncertainty.
What is up, conscious monkeys? Welcome back to another episode of Traveling to Consciousness. As always, I'm your host, Clayton Cuteri. Today's podcast, we're going to talk all about these UFOs. We're actually going to just talk about all of these UFOs. I do want to give you a quick briefing in case this is your only source of news. Our lovely President Joe Biden has pardoned another 1,500 individuals, including the judge and the prosecutor who were convicted in 2011 for what was known as the Kids for Cash scandal. And it completely destroyed so many lives. And that's a whole side topic. But I just wanted to let you guys know that that had happened. It's important information that we should know, that there are people above the law, apparently, in our government. It's not you or me. It's the elite. They take care of their own, essentially. So, without further delay, let's get into the UFOs, because I have a lot to say into this because of everything that's been coming out, everything that I've been seeing. Now, I do want to keep in mind that I do have a background. I worked with military drones for 4 years, if you did not know. I worked at General Atomics, which is like the state of the art. Like if you want the Rolls Royce of military drones, you go to General Atomics. That's kind of just how it's set up. Lockheed Martin makes them. Raytheon does not. Lockheed Martin. I'm trying to remember who. Boeing. Those are kind of like the big three. I feel like there's another one or two, but the big three are General Atomics, Boeing, and Lockheed Martin. And General Atomics is like the cream of the crop. It's who China goes after whenever they want to steal information. They'll try to target General Atomics primarily because the drone technology at General Atomics is just that supreme. So let's know that. Let's take a little mental note there that I've worked on drone technology for 4 or 5 years. And let's put that a little pinhole in that. Let's talk about the facts of what we've got going on here. And then I'll kind of break it down as to my opinion on them. So first of all, this is all out of control. Literally out of control. And I say this because I've seen videos of people showing lights in the sky that cannot be explained in Texas, Arizona, New York, Florida, Ohio, Pennsylvania, even in Philadelphia now, they're starting to see videos there. But it's not even in America either. And this is what's interesting that no one seems to be reporting in the mainstream media, is that this is all over the world. There have been sightings in Kazakhstan, Russia, China, Europe, all over. And we're not getting squat from our government. Some of the videos are very interesting. And I'll tell you what, the way that it seems like they are shaped, first of all, they're not military. At least, let me put it like this. They're not the UAVs the drones that I'm a company to. They don't move the way that these things are moving. They fly at much higher altitudes. They look like airplanes. And yet these things move in different flight patterns, closer to the ground. The lights on them are huge. So for it to just be called drones is, in my opinion, a red flag. Why is nobody saying that they're a UAP, an unidentified aerial phenomenon, which is what they shifted from calling UFOs, which were unidentified flying objects. But now we're calling these drones. So I think that that's like a very fascinating little, psychological play, that they're calling them drones, but they don't know where they're from, who sent them. They're not claiming that they're ours, X, Y, Z. So to me, that's a very interesting point that all of the media has decided to call them drones when we don't know what they are. So technically, based on the language that they've changed it to, it should be called a UAP, unidentified aerial phenomena, which they use to replace the term UFO, unidentified flying object, which they definitely are. Now, it's very important to note a couple things here. I think number one is that they have been seen over top of military bases. And I've seen videos of them over top of LaGuardia Airport. And it's very important to know that those airspaces are very, very restricted. What that means is that if anything flies within those airspaces, sometimes they'll send a message to that aircraft saying, hey, you're in restricted airspace, turn around. Hey, you're in restricted airspace, turn around. Otherwise, you'll get shot down. Like there's not... And then if they stay in that airspace, protocol is to shoot them down. So all of this stuff we're seeing on the news of, why don't they shoot them down? Shoot them down. Even Trump came out and he's like, they should shoot them down. The protocol is that they should have already taken shots at them. Which makes me think a couple of things. One, it could be the government just messing with us, trying to convince us of something that's not actually occurring. Like maybe they're trying to incite public, fear, because whenever they create fear, it's a good time for them to take away our rights. It's what happened with COVID. It's what happened with 9/11. They take away rights. You create fear, you take away rights for safety. You sacrifice freedom for safety. They do it all the time. So that's one option that could be happening. And they're just acting like they don't know. Number two is it's an advanced civilization that cannot be tracked, where they have tried to shoot these things down, but the technology of these are so advanced that our missiles, our weaponry is obsolete against them. That's the second possible option. And the reason I side with that is because imagine if you had like top ranking officials coming out being like, yeah, we tried to shoot them down, but we can't. Think about how the government would lose power in a way, like subtly. It would be very subtle, but the government would lose some sort of power. We would start realizing that there's a more advanced technology out there, whether it's from this planet or another planet. We would start realizing that America wasn't the top of the top in terms of military defense budget. Well, not budget. We spend the most. We have the biggest budget, but that we don't have the top of the line technology. So that would be something that could be kept on the hush, right? Like let's say China created these, something like that, right? That's a possibility. So they may not want to say that they can't shoot them down because they can't shoot them down, and then it would make us think like that we're not the most important. But with that being said, they should at least start their little propaganda train of these are from Russia, these are from this country. And they slightly tried that. The representative in New Jersey tried to slightly start that. He said that there was a mothership off the coast of the United States releasing these things. Turned out to be a complete lie. Surprise, politicians lied. And the thing is that they do that in order to get us into a proxy war with foreign countries. It's what they did with WMDs in Iraq. That's what they could be trying to do here. It's a possibility. I don't know. But if we take this back, another step, and we go back to my theory, it's not really my theory, I guess, but it seems more rational. And in my mind, it seems more rational, and I don't know, it seems more rational that it could be an advanced civilization. Because think about, I did this mental experiment. Think about if you were trying to get a lesser evolved animal to trust you, to want to be a part of you, or not be a part of you, but interact with you. And I thought about this in terms of squirrels, because we have some, excuse me, I have some in my backyard, and I kind of want to pet them and whatnot. So how do you do that? Well, you get food and you kind of put it nearby, and you try to get them to warm up to you. You don't just run in the tree, grab them and say, hey, little guy, we're going to be friends now. No, you slowly introduce yourself. It's kind of like how the wolf evolved into the dog. It's like a slow process of getting them more comfortable with you. And so if it is an advanced civilization, if that's the theory that ends up being true, this would be that slow introduction of, hey, we're intelligent, we're here, we exist, we've been existing. Which is crazy. And I think even you can look at this in terms of sacred texts as well, where I've seen sacred texts talk about how the sky would light up, like clouds would be illuminated. And there's a video of all these drones in, I think, New York City, and it literally looks like clouds just being illuminated. So I don't know. I mean, I think this is going to be a very, very interesting time. If I was a gambling man, which I try not to be, but if I had, a bet to make or a wager, I'd put some money on that this is the beginning of us coming into contact with life that did not start on this planet, that was not born on this planet. I think that's very exciting. But I don't know. Be careful. Keep your eyes out. I think it's important to realize that we should not, under any circumstances, relinquish any of our freedoms or rights to government during times like this, because they'll try their best to take away as many of our rights as possible. So we should not let them, regardless if it's aliens, regardless if it's our own government, regardless if it's a different government. Let's not let them take rights, number one. And number two, let's not let them convince us into another war. Because I'm pretty sure I speak for 80 to 90% of the population when I say that we're done with wars. There's no reason to be killing people. There's no reason to be funding the military-industrial complex. There's no reason for us to be spending almost $1 trillion a year in defense spending. We've given hundreds of billions of dollars to foreign countries. So on top of that, we easily spend probably close to $2 trillion in defense. Whether it's money we give to foreign governments or we invest in our own weapons and military. I mean, it's just absolutely absurd. Imagine the things that we could create with that type of money. People would be healthy. People wouldn't have stress. People could be enjoying life. Instead, we're spending $2 trillion to just kill innocent people. And it to me, it's the saddest thing in the entire, it's literally the saddest thing in the entire world. And it's very blatantly obvious to me that we do not have a resource issue on this planet. What we have is a resource management issue. Nobody wanting to help those in need, help those people who are less fortunate, who have less than you or I. Water's a good example. We have so much water on this earth, and you could desalinate it very easily for very cheap, yet we are not doing that for impoverished communities. Heck, we're not even doing it for our own communities. I got a letter in the mail saying that that the pipes might have lead in them. So I might have been drinking lead water. I thought America was supposed to be the frontier of great things. And yet everything that comes across keeps telling me that whether we're there or not, or almost there, we are so close to a third world country that it makes my skin crawl. And it is so sad that it's come to this. But we have to rally around something that's greater than us. The next generation, saving nature, saving other people. Because we can have this conversation of Republicans, Democrats, they're going to save us. Who? Which one? It's they both vote for these same funding bills. They voted for FISA without the warrants so that you can get spied on if they so please, essentially. They don't need warrants to spy on your phone. They all passed it. So tell me who cares about you. We need people in government who care more about the American people than how fat their pocket is, how much money is lining their wallet. We need people who care about the future. We need people who do not want to see innocent brothers and sisters dying in foreign countries. And I truly hope we're on the cusp of that. I hope that we're on the brink of what everyone in the spirituality calls the Great Awakening. I mean, it's in the stars. Everyone talking about the age of Aquarius. It seems like we're primed for it. We're so close, so close. I just hope we take that next step. And right now for you, that next step could be just sharing this podcast with someone. Could be leaving a review. But that's okay. That's cool. If it's not for you, then we'll have to figure out why it's not for you whenever we talk about it in the 6th dimension.